You're not selfish when you have enough time to think through your own thoughts. You're not selfish when you have time to take a nap. You're not selfish when your nervous system is a priority. You're not
Mm.
selfish when you dream a new dream for your reality. You're not selfish when you decide to become a published author when everyone else is satisfied with a blog. You're not selfish when you show up for your life. That's not selfish.
What does it take to put your life's work out there in a really big way? How much can I do with this one precious life? Welcome to The Selfish Gift. If you are yearning to do something big with your life, but you're feeling held back by your circumstances or your background, you are going to want to listen to this conversation. My guest today is Allyson Byrd. She is a master speaker and a speaker trainer. She is a money minister and a voice alchemist who supports entrepreneurs to step into their highest possible expression and achieve massive success. Allyson, thank you so much from the bottom of my heart for joining me today.
I'm so happy to be here. We were talking about this before we started filming, like how we are one another's divine manifestations. So I just know that this conversation is going to give every listener great sensations of possibility, great sensations of joy, and really deeply feeling understood as a reflection of our
Yes.
time together.
Oh, thank you so much for that. Yes. So I would love to start just by hearing your take on the idea of selfishness. This podcast is called The Selfish Gift because I believe that our greatest gift that we have to give the world is also our path to our greatest joy and fulfillment that fuels us and rewards us. But the fear of being seen as selfish is often the thing that holds people back from really stepping into their power and going after their dreams. So, Allyson, what can you tell me about, like, what do we misunderstand about selfishness?
Ooh, such a yummy question. I'm currently reading a book called The Courage to Be Disliked.
Ooh.
The Courage
Mm.
to Be Disliked. It's by two Japanese writers. And it's brilliant because it comes from a culture that is not my own. I'm African American and I've grown up in North America. And North America really centers us on two energetics that make us bipolar in our emotions. And that is one, the energetic of don't be selfish, put others before you. And then the second energetic of put the mask on yourself. You can't help anyone if you don't have enough air. So that's very conflicting to receive as an adult, let alone a child that is receiving those awarenesses from adults who don't even understand themselves.
Right.
So, what I love about The Courage to Be Disliked in that book is that he says, unpack your thoughts. And so, most people are saying that they're selfish when they prioritize their time. Well, unpack that. That's not true.
Mm-hmm.
You're not selfish when you have enough time to think through your own thoughts. You're not selfish when you have time to take a nap. You're not selfish when your nervous system is a priority. You're not selfish when you dream a new dream for your reality. You're not selfish when you decide to become a published author when everyone else is satisfied with a blog. You're not selfish when you show up for your life. That's not selfish. So I think that a lot of humans are walking around with unpacked consciousness. And because it's so tight within themselves, if they would just unbraid it, just like if you make a fist, if you unbraid it, then it becomes, with two hands, it becomes 10 amazing ideas. But
Wow.
braid it together, it feels like a confluence of you can't do it, you're disqualified, it's not right for you, it's wrong, it's bad, it's unsafe. So that's my
Beautiful.
initial thought.
Yeah, and I think that this idea that, well, if I ever am going to do anything, that is for me, and even answering the calling that I'm being led to do, um, I'm going to have times when I say no to others and yes to my own priorities, and that is not the same thing as being unkind, cruel, rude, disregarding, dishonest, whatever, all of those things that we equate with, the negative side of serving one's, being self-serving. So thank you so much for that. Allyson, okay, you and I have something in common, something maybe surprising. Um, I heard you talking about it on another interview, and I was like, what? Okay, so you dropped out of high school at the age of 15, did you not?
I did.
So did I. So did I. I dropped out of high school at the age of 15. I left home really early. And I can feel my nervous system activating even as I say those words, because for a long time I hid that fact from the world. I was ashamed of it. And now I'm proud of it, not because because I think that nobody needs high school or it's not valuable, but education certainly does matter. But I've done all that I've done in spite of not having the privilege of a big fancy education, or even actually a basic full school education. So I just want to take a moment to celebrate with you. Here's to unconventional pathways to success.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah, girlfriend. I celebrate you. And I celebrate you saying it out loud. I celebrate you.
Thank you. It's wild, isn't it? Like, it's easy to carry a lot of baggage around with us from our circumstances and limitations that we had when we were in our formative years. So I want to ask you for a moment about, just to recap for those who may not be familiar, just the tops of the waves about, I know, some of the difficult circumstances that you came from, with a mom working 3 jobs, and a dad who was incarcerated for some of your youth. What I would like to know is, at what moment did you decide that that was not going to be your narrative?
You know, it has taken me a lot of years of deep work, really deep work. And I'm grateful for the years of deep work that I've gone through, because that's what's helped me become the inventor and the creator of what I now call Spotlight Energetics. And so, to unpack that a little bit and tie it into your answer, I knew that I was born for the spotlight, but my circumstances kept telling me that was going to be an unlikely probability.
Putting it mildly, right? Yeah, that's what you
Putting it
feel at the time.
mildly.
Yeah.
But I had these sensations in my body when I would watch an Oprah Winfrey. And as a child, that was every day after school. What is Oprah talking about? I was just fascinated.
Mm-hmm.
And then as time began to unfold, we got to see more actors and actresses that were people of color, more politicians that were people of color, Shirley Chisholm, Barbara Jordan. And I started to see those things, Maggie. I started to see those things demonstrated. And it's really funny, because the tale that the world tells about African Americans is very different than what I lived. So I grew up, even though the late Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King had already been assassinated, he was so present in our studies.
Mm-hmm.
So the way that it was ushered in my mind was, this is what he said to do. You're up.
Hmm.
That's the way I always heard it. Was so I always felt like I was being trained to step into the next leg of the race of progress, not just for Black people, because Martin Luther King said, little Black boys, little white boys, little black girls,
Mm,
non-binary and trans inclusion wasn't present yet, but I would say he would have included them. And he would have
absolutely.
included our LGBTQ plus community and siblings. So that's how I felt. So when you ask me what was that awakening, I've never been afraid of my story because I
Ah,
always thought that the story mattered. I actually had to unbraid myself from living tragedy because I thought the tragedy and the trauma was what bolstered me to be a public facing persona.
okay, you just took it to another level because because there's, maybe level 0 or the floor that we're on is like my trauma is holding me back. Level 1 is like it's a big step up. It's a massive step up between 0 and 1, right? That next level is my trauma is my springboard. But you're going beyond that. You're saying actually my trauma is not at all what defines me. Amazing. Amazing.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
this is what expanded my spotlight. As long as my trauma around being raised by a single mom, then I was only relatable by that lens and frequency. Then
Yeah.
if I tell the story of my dad and his incarceration, now there's a different range and realm. But when I start to allow it all to dissolve, and I just am a human that came into a life like all of us that was riddled with imperfections and governed by leaders who did not know what they didn't know. And so they
Yeah.
put
Yeah.
borders and boundaries and constraints around us, some that benefited us, some that suffocated us. And when we understand that we've all lived that in every range of humanity, then it levels the playing field and we all feel qualified to make a living by telling our story in any way that we want to tell it. We feel qualified to speak and write our way into our own relationship with money freedom, whether that's being a hundredaire, a thousandaire, a millionaire, a billionaire, whatever that range is for you. And we find satisfaction in the significance of the journey that we've walked through. And we lose that masculine pursuit, whether we're male, female, non binary, no gender identification at all. We lose that hustle that is
Hmm.
so exhaustive because that hustle is chasing for the spotlight. And in cosmic consciousness, we learned that not only will the spotlight hold us, but that we can form union with it, which means then it will bring us the opportunities and the momentum that's right for us. So we won't have a Kim Kardashian level fame if we simply want to be at Elizabeth Gilbert status. We'll
Oh,
have that
simply,
reflection.
I would happily take that. Yeah, let's keep it realistic here. I don't need to be Kim. Just I will make do with being Liz. Thank you. Well, and you've talked so much in the past. I want to hear you talk also about just the Kim's already been done. Liz has already been done. You're here to be Allyson. I'm here to be Maggie. And that is unique and it includes our unique story and it's not in reaction to our story. It's the, unique emanation of the divine consciousness that is you, that is me. And oh, isn't it wonderful and how particular this person is. I love it. I want to ask you about those early stages, though. We talk a lot in sort of personal growth communities, spiritual communities. We talk a lot about the importance of mindset and the importance of, orientation to a vision. But there's a listener or several out there right now who are feeling very far away from that. She's out there trying to keep her vibe high, but in the meantime, it's hard because she's in a maybe like a 1-bedroom basement suite, and any angle that she puts the Zoom camera on, you can just see the kind of like overcrowdedness and the shabbiness behind her, and that stresses her out on a daily basis. And maybe she's like on the bus with taking her kids to school and noticing that like her shoes are worn down, and what's even worse, and I'm speaking from experience here. I've lived in that apartment. I've lived that life. I've had those shoes. I've been on that bus. Um, what's even worse is when we have perhaps, mean and nasty words in our head that came to us into our ears from someone who was supposed to love and care for us. Those are very early stages, and that sort of feeling of expansiveness can feel so far away. What would you say to her, and how to kind of just take those first few steps?
Hmm. The first thing that I would say is you are not alone. And one of the best things that I did in that season of my reality is, and I just lived one of those seasons a year ago, a
Mm.
really tough awakening where my entire life fell apart. And thank God it did. Because when our
Oh.
lives fall apart, we stop holding it together with the hot glue gun, the duct tape, chewing that bubble gum, sticking it,
Hmm.
in the middle. And when life falls apart, it's one of our greatest fears realized. And it's also one of the greatest blessings that you can ever live because it shatters performance within yourself,
Mm.
performing to yourself in a way that is an antithesis to your own progress. So, the first thing that I would say is number one, what did I do to break myself from where I was to where I wanted to be? You have to accept where you are. And I'll give you some hope here. Step number one is to write down what is your bully saying. When I wrote what my internal bully was saying, my internal bully said five of the very same things over and over. I kept fighting inside like a ninja, and I was using all my energetics to fight the same five sentences. Once I wrote it down, then I could go, every time I have a new idea, these five sentences present themselves. Here we go. Now there's no power. If the bully is saying, for me, I had physical inhibitions when I started. I was 345 pounds at my highest weight in the public eye. So I felt like they were always going to say I was fat. When I came out in the marketplace, we still wore stockings. So when I went to a network marketing meeting, I was the loudest one because I'm swishing in with my pantyhose on,
Oh.
It was so noisy that shh, shh, and I was so mortified by that. Thank God designer nothing was out at the time because I was still wearing 2-for-1 shoes from Payless. So you could smell a Payless shoe from 6 feet away.
Hmm.
And so my bully was always saying, you don't look the part to get the role. You don't have an education. You have on cheap clothes. So I looked at the list and I was like, okay, this is what we're going to do. We're going to save up money for one really good outfit and we're going to wear it
Hmm.
every fucking time. It's going to be our uniform. Number one.
Hmm.
Number two, we're going to get one really great pair of shoes. We're going to invest in that.
See, the
Number
shoes
three,
matter. The shoes
because shoes matter.
matter. They
So
really do.
number
Yeah.
three, we're going to tap into our health, not just to lose weight, but so we feel good. What I
Hmm.
recognize, Maggie, is the bully is actually your mentor. It is your internal guide that because we don't slow down and listen, it starts to yell at us and it starts to go, hey, but it's actually telling us if you do these things, you'll feel so much better about yourself.
Hmm. Oh, that is so powerful. And it's like flipping it on its head because instead of trying to appease the bully or, earn its approval or run away from it, you're just saying, okay, what information can I use here? Can I consciously and deliberately use for my own proactive self advancement?
Yes. And this is why the bully shows up inside. The average human brain has 60,000 thoughts in a day. those 60,000 thoughts aren't your own. They come from what you watch on television. They come from what you heard on the radio as a child. And most of that programming was problem focused because most of it was marketing central. So it was always
Hmm.
saying, are your teeth in pain? Try this toothpaste for this. So you were always listening to pain solution, pain solution. So we are auto programmed to think through the lens of pain until we take our mind back and start to train our thought process to think through the portals of pleasure. And that is what the beginning stages of mindset work is really designed to help you do.
Yes, yes. And let's talk for a second about the connection between mindset and action, because this is sometimes overlooked. There are those that focus too much on external kind of actions. If I can just move these chips around on the board, then I'm going to get what I want, but I'm going to stay trapped in my negative, limited thinking. And then there are those who, it's not enough to just lie in your bed saying affirmations, I believe. You need both. But talk to me about the link between cultivating that expansive mindset and taking bold and powerful action. Why does mindset? What role does mindset play in this?
Well, what I've recognized as I've been developing this methodology around spotlight energetics for the last decade, I've been studying this, channeling in creativity from source, and for anyone who doesn't know what that means, it means I go into meditation, I still and quiet my mind, and I ask cosmic energy, where is the world going, and how does my gift add value to that progress? The reason that I do that is it takes away my need to be the number one in marketing, to be the
Hmm.
number one speaker, to be the number one writer, to be the number one in social media, or to have the largest email list. No, if I go into meditation and say, where's the world going? How does the gift that I already have, not where do I need to go to school to learn something else? What do I need to develop? No, I'm already this person and I'm already in a high quality lifestyle that I want to maintain receiving. And I want to live that reality with grace and ease and with joy and flow. Those are my agreements for my union with my spotlight. And so,
Hmm.
what my spotlight asks of me is to ask of it, where do you want me? What most humans are using an old earth pre Eckhart Tolle way of
Yeah.
being where they go, what can I sell? What can I
Yeah.
monetize? What can I? Well, that's a very toxically patriarchal perception of what can I give to get. You actually want to slow yourself down into who am I and how does who I be offer something lovely to the world. And we can bring Elizabeth Gilbert right back in and we can
Please.
say she wanted to take her own journey to her own awakening in life, did it, wrote about it, and it became one of the biggest permission slips for women around the globe to leave their old self and tap into something greater within themselves with Eat, Pray, and Love. And it made her even more, she was already great. That
Yeah.
is how you make a living with your story. That's how you receive from your spotlight versus pursuing the spotlight as work. You just live your natural worth, and your spotlight will come to you and say, hey, write about it. Hey, tell that story over there. Hey, do it this way. And
Yeah.
suddenly you'll find yourself in a magical instance. And for anyone who's even doubting this, at the time that you and I are recording this, we are recording this a day or so before a blue moon, where
Oh,
we get to
yes.
once in a blue moon.
Yes.
So we are living the times of once in a blue moon. You just might pay attention to that nudge in yourself, and it just might turn you into Sarah Blakely, who cut stockings who cut the bottom off of stockings and made Spanx. And then
Yeah.
Kim Kardashian, who 20 years later said, I'm going to redo what you did even better and turn it into $1 billion company, because there are no limits except for the limits that you believe in. So when you ask me, like, how do you get beyond yourself? Go into meditation. Ask the world, where are you going? And how does who I am make a difference for where we're going? And that will give you inevitability. That helps you not have to battle half the mindset issues.
I love that so much. And what it sounds to me like you're really talking about is you just giving yourself permission to exit the race. You're not in a race with other people. And this is not an outside in assignment, it's an inside out assignment, right? So you said the word spotlight a couple of times. I'm also mindful of your chosen label that you're using to describe your work these days, which is money minister. And so, okay, I feel like these things are connected. Talk to me, please, about the spotlight and about being a money minister. What do you mean when you say spotlight?
Yes, yes, and yes. I recognize that majority of the humans in my early career denied that they wanted the spotlight. They would go, no, 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 I just want to speak on a few stages, or I just want to have this conference, or I just want to write a best-selling book. You want the spotlight. You have something to offer and you want the spotlight. What I recognize, Maggie, is that because the current era that we're in, many of us were raised by humans who told us not to want it. Don't be showy. Don't brag. If we got new shoes or a new jacket, it was like, don't make other people feel bad that you got something new. If we had a birthday and our siblings didn't share that birthday with us, then it's like, don't be too showy about your presents because you don't want to make your sibling upset. There are so many ridiculous societal rules that continue to put constraint around our expression of joy, our expression about who we authentically are, and about how we feel about it, both shadow and sunlight.
Mhm.
So, for instance, I felt very powerful about my voice, but I also felt like it was too heavy, or I felt like it was, I don't know, whatever it was that I thought. I don't think those thoughts anymore, so it feels foreign sometimes to reach into that space.
Mhm.
But what I recognize is that all of those aspects that I have lived have become my top selling program experiences. So, what it has taught me is that the spotlight is not one moment in time. The spotlight began the moment you entered into the womb of your mother. It was breathed into you, whatever that spotlight will become. And it is up to us to receive it through our discovery. And how do we discover? Well, we discover, number one, by living our purpose. And that is one of the most difficult things for people to tap into, because purpose is not a mission. It is not a thing that you do. Contrary to a lot of people's belief, many people read The Purpose Driven Life and received it as a doing. Purpose is a being. It is a state of being the highest authority for your own path. But most humans are stuck at, my mother's philosophy is still guiding my life. My father's judgments are still guiding my life. My family's boundaries on creativity is still governing my life. Maybe my religion is what's governing my life. Maybe my view on God, maybe my race, maybe because someone is a certain race or a certain gender, they think certain things can't happen. So we are softening in society now, and we are helping each other to see different reflections so that we can say, it's okay. I know it feels very scary. And I know your nervous system is telling you that it's impractical. But look at me. I'm Black. Look at me. I dropped out of high school. Look at Maggie. She identifies as white and she dropped out of high school. And look at us together, both
Yeah.
creating something in a new earth that other people might have thought wasn't possible, but we think it's possible. And so listen to us and borrow from us. So I think that these conversations, I don't think I know, they're healing us. And so the spotlight is you. It is really you. And when I say form union with your spotlight, it's you forming union with your truest you. And the truest us is our inner child. And most people think their inner child is fighting them. Your inner child is not fighting you. Your inner child is just trying to give you the desires that are on your heart. And so I
Yes.
built an entire career, Maggie, that was devoid of my inner child. Now that my inner child is integrated, my sister and I are going into another phase of work together as children's book writers together.
Amazing.
It's
Amazing.
amazing because our inner children have not only risen within ourselves, but now we formed union outside of ourselves with each other. And so now we're making a brand new lane of career, making a living with our story yet again, but this time through the lens as children's authors. All of it is still
Mm,
making a living with our story. And so that's
mm,
why I'm very grateful to help people understand that you can, one, make a living with your story. Two, you do it by forming union with your spotlight. Three, your spotlight is nothing outside of you. Four, when you reconcile that it is inside of you, you will not be paid for work ever again. You will
mhm,
be paid your worth. And
mhm.
that is what makes the money that my clients receive today feel exponential to them, because they're not only receiving premium revenue, but it feels so good because it's
Yeah.
coming from pleasure, not pressure. And that's a game changer.
I love all of that. And most especially the way you really just opened my mind to this idea that our spotlight, as you call it, which is ultimately, I suppose, your purpose, your calling, whatever that is, that it's speaking to us, that it's an facet of our inner child and ourselves, and that we can have a relationship and a dialogue with it. So now I'm not out there trying to decide which of the other people in the world I should, emulate and follow, or what kind of goal sounds impressive to the person who I think is judging me. Like, no, the joy in expanding into yourself really is about dropping and letting go of those burdens. That's so beautiful. Um Amazing. And you know what? I also just want to say I had a big awakening moment last year. I went through a cancer experience, and I'm healthy now. But while I was going through it, I had the opportunity to reevaluate what really matters to me. Which of these goals do I want to keep on my list? And why do I have this goal on my list? So I had lots of goals, all kinds of goals. And I still have some of those goals. I still care about those goals. The things that I choose now to go after because it feels like a fun game. It feels enlivening. But what I realized, Allyson, was there was actually just one thing on my bucket list of like, how will I know my life has been well spent? And that is to grow and heal as much as possible. And then I realized, oh, you know what? I'm already doing quite a lot of that. I'm doing quite well that way. So I've already won, and everything now is extra. And now I get just to pick what I want to pile up onto my plate, and I'm not chasing worth. I'm just enjoying the banquet of possibility here.
That
So that
is that is the energetic that very few people dance with. You know what it's called?
mm,
Satisfaction.
yes, yes. Yes. And with that
Mm.
comes so much um, energy, like a desire to share that and to show others, like, get on this. Get on this ride. This is incredible. And there's no way to fail because the journey is the point of it all. Um, Having said that, I want to circle back to one particular stumbling block that I know is very common, and I know that it's common because I had it, and a lot of my friends had it. So I spent years as I spent some time as a broke single mom, and I learned the value of community and how, and I learned the pleasure of making do with less, and I was proud of how scrappy I was, and how I could put a roof over mine and my child's head, even if sometimes that roof was temporary or insecure. How to live well with limited means. I felt so proud of myself. And I felt so appreciative of my community of other single moms and how we just were there for each other. Babysitting co-op and whatever, alternate ways to resource ourselves and each other. And what I know from having lived in that circumstance and still knowing people who are, in that circumstance, um, there can be a stumbling block, which is around loyalty to the community or family or friend group that we came up with. In fact, I have a dear friend from those days, and her daughter, who's now grown, got a really great university degree and was at some point offered a job that she was making good money. It wasn't like executive money, but it was good, more than subsistence level living money. I was talking to this young woman a couple of years ago, and she told me that she gave the job up because she actually felt uncomfortable making that much money. And also there was a tremendous pressure to, she felt it was just taken for granted that she must share that money freely with her mother and her sister, and give it all back to those that didn't have. And I'm not judging her decision at all. But it did make me think about this feeling of loyalty. We know where you come from. Don't get too big for your britches. How do we escape that while
Mm-hmm.
still feeling compassionate and connected to people who might, still be in similar circumstances to what we're trying to leave behind?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. This answer is going to save a lot of people. You do not escape it. Survivor's remorse is real.
Yeah.
And it's a very sensitive, very tender place. What I will say is that it's only seasonal most of the time.
How
So
so?
most
Explain.
of the time, yeah, most of the time you there I've experienced it three ways. And I'll start with the most painful to the most joyous. The most painful was before my mother could get to the other side, so to speak, she died. Now, what's
Mm.
really funny is that I'm starting what I thought was the most painful, but Spirit just said to me, that's actually the most joyous because holy smokes, whoa, I'm getting rearranged right now.
Okay.
Because
Wow.
when she did, she became my usher. She began to help me from the other side. And that was incredibly traumatic to receive. And so I want to say to anyone that's listening that is still suffering the perception that you may have failed someone before they died, or even anger at someone at dying before you all could create a new reality. I know that pain. I know that disappointment. I know that sadness. And so to button that up, let that person be your angel because that's what they're meant for. And that is a
Mm.
very challenging survivor's remorse to receive. It's very challenging. The second way that I've received it is when I began to progress, my sister did not progress in the same way.
Yeah.
We both were living depression. I was living it in front of the world. Working my ass off, more Facebook lives, more travel, more events. I was just going for it. My sister was living it in her bedroom in darkness. Identical living, but it was very different as far as an outer world experience. So I say that to say, sometimes we think we're not running the same race. And we're like, I don't want to leave anybody behind. You probably not. You probably running right next to them, but your worlds look so different that, like, I really thought I was in a marathon. I was basically living that same conflation, but my outer world reality was so different than hers, it played out differently. How do I know? We had very similar sicknesses, autoimmune diseases. I started birthing tumors in my body, vitiligo, hormone, acne, all through here. This was caked up. One day I woke up and my whole face was deformed. So I love having these conversations so that those of you that are listening that are on the path of greatness, you are on the path of expanding from where you are into something new. You are on the path of tapping into new identities. It can become very scary. Like, I want everyone to come with me. Do you? Do you? Do you? Because if you actually walk and forge the path, you will meet new earth angels that will help you bring the elixir back to the humans that you love. And what I have discovered, Maggie, is I was in so much fear, like, I gotta hurry up. I gotta get the elixir to him. Then one day I looked up and my sister was walking right next to me. I'm like, hey, how did you get here? And she's like, I was watching you. I started doing what you were doing. And I'm like, and you caught up to me? Yep, I supercharged it. I'm like, what? So as you live the path of integrity, it is magnetic. If you are living, I'm changing my life and look at me perform being a good person, well, nobody shows up for that party.
Yeah.
But when you live as yourself, that is authentic wind. And it begins to call those that you love, and they start going, oh, I like that. I like that. And so there is a very short season of remorse, very short season of remorse. And there was one more that I was going to say. Let's see, my sister, my mother. Oh, friendships.
Yeah.
I have in the entrepreneurial community, I've joined masterminds, meetup groups, and sometimes our dreams are just different. And I remember one day I was in a coffee shop meeting everybody as a struggling coach. And then the next day, I had met Lisa Nichols, who had just been a co-author in the anthology The Secret, and
Yeah.
then had just signed her 7-figure book deal with the book No Matter What. Second woman in history to do that. Hillary Clinton was the first for a nonfiction work. Suddenly, I'm now traveling the globe with her. So those people went from seeing me every Tuesday at the coffee shop to now I suddenly have reached to 35 million because I'm traveling next to Lisa. Don't try to dream the same dreams as those around you. Let your
Right.
dream be your own dream because it changes the frequency. Those humans were okay being a struggling coach. My spotlight told me, nah, boo thing, we got something else going on. Look outside this coffee shop. And when I did, I stumbled onto a YouTube video, stumbled onto Lisa Nichols, stumbled into her book at a coffee shop, stumbled into calling my mentor who said, oh, she's going to be here next month. And the rest became my future. And that woman cut my time up the mountain in half. She put me
Yes.
on a private jet and got me halfway up the mountain and said, the rest is all you, baby girl. And that's the reality that we have. So,
It's so powerful. And none of that would have happened if you're concerned about, like, oh, is this, are people that I love going to have a hard time viewing me in a different way? I should play small so as to keep everybody comfortable. You're actually not doing them any favors, and you're certainly not doing yourself any favors by doing that. I still do have. So let's talk about the next phase. We thank you for spending some good, deep, juicy time with me discussing that sort of those early square one steps, because they can be so hard. I want to talk a little bit about the next phase where you kind of like achieve some success. You're really stepping into yourself, and you kind of hit a plateau. And I also, let's practice radical vulnerability here. I feel like I'm there right now. I've got some good stuff going on. I feel amazing in my life. And yet, when I really challenge myself to think about what the sort of leveling up looks like, thinking about, the car, the house, never flying coach again, all that. And there's a part of me that's like, you sort of touched on it earlier, just kind of like wanting to be a little bit discreet about it, because, somebody over there is giving me the side eye, and maybe they think that I'm materialistic or shallow or, something, whatever, fill in the blank, bad about my character. And this is about, leveling up my wealth. And the idea that, that somehow receiving massive supply and surplus hurts other people. So I know that money is not a pie chart, and there's more than $1 to go around in the world. But I feel like I'm cutting off my circulation by harboring these thoughts. So tell me, what can you tell us about leveling up when we've hit a plateau? And I know that this is something that you've experienced, so maybe you can speak from your own experience.
oh, most definitely. So often when we experience things like this, we forget that we're on the path of greatness. And one of the things that I teach my clients in our process of Spotlight Energetics is that a problem is an illusion and a mentor.
Wait a sec. Say that again. A problem is an illusion
Uh-huh.
and a mentor.
Uh-huh.
Please say more.
Okay. So an illusion is not real, and a mentor is a teacher.
Mhm.
So something not real is trying to teach you something because it's here to,
Okay.
yeah.
Click, click.
Ah, so
You saw the click.
let's tap into this problem. You're seeing it as I have a problem for wealth for this demonstration. Here's how we flip it in Spotlight Energetics language. My spotlight has invited me into a slowdown because it's time for me to learn how to expand to have the answers that are ready for my life. So it's not a plateau, actually. This is what we would say is an inspired void, a time for you to pull back and come to the breast of the cosmos to be nurtured,
Mhm.
because receiving with both hands takes a lot of energy. So, this is a moment. I have studied with a woman named Dr. Valerie Rain. A huge shout out to Dr. Valerie Rain, who wrote the book on patriarchal stress disorder.
Oh, yes.
Uh huh. And patriarchal stress disorder says I must consistently be a generator in order
Mhm.
for me to be a consistent haver. No, your spotlight produces a plateau to help you retreat back to the breast of the cosmos. What is the breast of the cosmos? Going for a walk at the lake, going for a hike at the mountain, going to a sound healing, sitting down with your friends, playing with your children, having a fun phone call with someone that you love, getting your girlfriends together for a Zoom wine chat. If you don't drink, green juice chat, whatever it is. But it is finding those sensations of play and pleasure so that the purpose of you gets a new awareness. That awareness operates as elixir to the world that you can monetize. And you can
Mhm.
monetize with so much soul satisfaction, with so much inevitability. You're like, I know this is an answer. I don't have to make an offer. I just need to exist as an answer. And it changes.
Yes, 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 yes. Oh my God, just exist as an answer. That is so freeing. And I want to say, feels so much easier. I'm not going to say that it's without, intentional action and effort, but so much more full of ease.
Well, the effort that you will be invited into will be effort that you like. Have you ever
Yeah.
had someone say to you, "Oh, girl, I don't like doing that"? Like I had a friend who said to me, "Oh, I said to them actually, "Oh, I don't like doing laundry. How do you do that?" I have someone do my laundry. And they said, I love it. They said, I wake up on Saturdays, I make a pot of coffee, I do this and do that. And I love the smell in my house and I light the candles and I make a playlist. That was effort they love,
Right.
not effort I love. So when we retreat to the breast of the cosmos, we are given instruction that is effort that we love, and it won't look the same for other people, but it will sure as hell feel so good to us.
And that's where life just becomes a joyful journey.
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah. My God, so much, and I can hear what I don't even need the answer of like what you mean by money minister because I'm experiencing it. I'm hearing you use the term spotlight energetics. Is this a key phrase in a framework or an offering or something that you are putting out right now? And can you tell me more about it?
Yes, I am going to be teaching this for at minimum the next decade. I know for sure. And so this is my answer for the ambitious, driven entrepreneurial leader who comes into awakening and they're like, am I supposed to give up my ambition? Am I supposed to give up my drive? Am I supposed to only be feminine and dancing out with the wolves? Like, what's supposed to happen?
Or just passive, just sit there and open my hands and let it fall in, right? Yeah.
Listen, if that's what divine order wanted from me, then divine order did not need to make me the way that I am, because I am gorgeously masculine. I love production. I love to solve a problem. I love to bite into a project. You know?
Yeah.
And so when this feminine expression came out and everybody was like, we're going the way of the feminine, I felt disqualified. And so when the world shifts, I feel energetically to say these words. When the world changes winds and we haven't caught up with the new consciousness yet, we do feel disqualified. And that disqualification brings sensations of us wanting to unalive ourselves because we stop feeling necessary.
Mhm.
And I
Mhm.
want to say
Mhm.
that because on the path of greatness, we do meet the sensations of wanting to end our lives often. And it really can feel so weighty for us. I have spent many of my channeling sessions talking to Kurt Cobain, who was the head of Nirvana, because I'm
Mhm.
like, Kurt, tell me, like, did you face this? Because, bruh, I feel like I'm just wanting to, and I will ask Kate Spade, Kate, tell me, How did you have this gorgeous reality for yourself, but still felt like, I gotta go, I'm out? Help me not recreate that in my outer world reality, because I am living some sensations of obligation and overwhelm and overextension. And that's how I began to create those frameworks. I have been spending time with the lates and the greats on the other side, asking the Whitney Houstons of the world, asking the Steve Jobs of the world, asking them, how did you keep pioneering new consciousness with so much pressure? And that's when they began to whisper to me, don't let them carry the spotlight. Let them know the spotlight will carry
I
them.
just felt my whole body relax when you said that. Amazing. Allyson, how can folks be a part of this? What does it look like to work with you, to be in your community? How can we get in?
See how it becomes irresistible?
Oh, it's utterly irresistible, and by the way, I have no doubt that, you can't get to that kind of presence or that creative of an offering, that sort of unique, wild, out there, whatever, sort of never been done before kind of offering through some sort of whiteboard brainstorming strategy road mapping session with a consultant, you know, or a coach. You're not going to get there. That is the call from within, and it's the unique fingerprint of your divine presence. And thank God that you slowed down and opened up and to it, because it's compelling. So I ask again, how do we get in?
Oh my God, I love it so much. So I've created it's like it's one of the it is the most playful course experience that I've ever created. I am calling it a master heart instead of a master mind.
Yes.
Yes, we are bringing all of our hearts together, and the heart is the gateway to your prosperity overall. It is the biggest gateway. So, Spotlight Energetics is my new, not only my new methodology, my new teaching platform, where all of my frameworks are now being born, but I have a cohort that I'm taking leaders through. It's 90 days of being with me, and we come together just for 3 individual weekends. So I don't do a
Mm-hmm.
week by week, because the spotlight holding you, it needs space to talk to you. And so, what
Mm-hmm.
I am teaching leaders is how to form union with their spotlight, so that the spotlight can bring them the stages, the platforms, the opportunities. My clients are consistently making $1,000 to $100,000 per platform. They are
Wow.
expanding into politics. They are expanding into television. They are expanding and piercing the noise in oversaturated markets, like comedy, like coaching, like ministry and healers, where it feels like, oh my God, no one can see me. How am I ever going to be? Well, when you form union with your spotlight teaches you through the laws of magnetism. So now you're in the codes of Krishna, of Buddha, of Christ, of Gandhi, of Oprah, of Mother Teresa. You draw all men unto you.
Mm.
So, for anyone that's interested, this is a high level experience. I don't teach people who are brand new to their spotlight. I do
Yeah.
work with leaders who, like you've launched your podcast, you've started to get your message out there. You are born for more. And that's really where I come in, and I help that leader receive their expansion before they start to carry it as a burden. So it's a really
Mm.
unique answer that supports soft humans to be even more significance out in the world without feeling the need to have to harden to carry something that they were never meant to carry.
Well, I feel like I'm going to spend this afternoon at the spa integrating this conversation. Yes, I just need to soak it up, soak it up. That is just so incredible. Okay, so where can people find you and find out if your Spotlight Energetics Master Heart group is for them?
Yes, absolutely. One, you can always email us, and my team is intimate. There are three of us. And so you can email us at red carpet, all together, one word, red carpet at AllysonByrd.com. And my name is uniquely spelled, so check the spelling on the podcast. And then I am very active on Instagram. I'm very active in our YouTube. And I would say that if you are a world-class entrepreneur that says, I'm ready to achieve more by doing less, then that means you're ready for your spotlight to hold you. And that's when you show up into my world and when I show up into yours.
Amazing. And in the meantime, you're working on your kids' book with your sister. I just cannot wait to see where all of this goes. And because I'm a spelling person and a book editor for 20 years, I am going to do the spelling of your name for the people listening. So it's Allysson, and Byrd is Byrd. So you've got Y's in there rather than I's. And I also just wanted to point out that I noticed that the first four letters of your name spell the word ally. Your name is Allyson, which is a great mnemonic. And that means a good way to remember how a word is spelled, people. Okay, so this has been such an incredible conversation. I could talk to you all day, and I definitely want to stay in touch. Thank you. Thank you, Allyson Byrd, so much for bringing your money ministry to the Selfish Gift today.
And my Spotlight Energetics.
That's right. That's right. That's right. All of it. All of it. Beautiful. Thank you so much.
Thank you, friend.
I really hope this conversation has inspired you to give so much of your gift to the world that it expands you into your greatest possible version of yourself. Remember, it's not selfish just because we also benefit from it. And here's where I get to make a selfish request. New podcasts need all the help they can get. If you enjoyed this episode, please rate the show and subscribe to us on your favorite platform. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram at Selfish Gift Podcast. And send me a DM. I'd love to hear how you're sharing your gift with the world.